how to create easy, quickie meals, how to impress your guests and by doing less than 20 minutes of prep and cleanup combined. And it's going to take me half an hour or more to tell you how to do it. For some reason, that just seemed funny. I'm still laughing about Eve's inside of the tomato. And I can relate to that so much because some of the fruit that we open is so gorgeous. When you open it up, it's too pretty to eat. And it's amazing what's inside. And a lot of it, you don't know what you're going to find inside. How many people know what they're going to see when they open a watermelon, or are they very often surprised? You don't know the texture, you don't know the seed content, you don't know the layout of the land, you don't know what it's going to be. And there's a lot of fruits that we open that we don't know what we're going to find. Having spent a lot of time in the tropics, I'm keen to the fact that I don't know what I'm going to find. I have opened many pieces of fruit to have 100 ants pop out all at one time, just go crazy because I just opened up their house. Usually, even just with the gorgeous fruit, I never cease to be amazed at the beauty inside something as simple as it appears to be simple, a piece of fruit, and you open it up and it's gorgeous. And I think that whole concept of reverence, of really appreciating what we're eating, is something that is of major importance. And it's something that is very hard to get in touch with when you're using a knife and fork, as the Chinese called us barbarians using knife and fork, when you're actually consuming death on the plate, dead, burnt bodies. It's very hard to experience a reverence for this, and I find it odd that people will make blessings over food that is wreaking environmental havoc, causing their health to be destroyed, represents animal suffering of the greatest degree, and then expect this meal to be blessed in some way. And I'm not sitting in judgment. I was there. But now I find this to be really odd behavior. One of the things that I find impressive about a raw food diet is that it can be consumed with minimal prep. I watch TV commercials where they show steak and noodles, and it only took 45 minutes to make the whole thing, and then we can sit down to dinner, and they're so proud, only 45 minutes. And I go, gee, in 45 minutes, I made dinner, I ate dinner, I cleaned up from dinner, I've already on to some other task. One of the things that I do notice, and I don't think this has ever changed for me, because as I said, as a child, I was always hungry. But now, when I become aware of my hunger, I want to eat. I really don't want to wait 45 minutes. I want to eat now. So I go for fast food. And I can't think of faster food than a piece of fruit or a piece of vegetable. It's just instant fast food. We use it in the car when we're traveling, or on the plane when we're traveling. We always take fast food with us, take a big bag of grapes, and it's in its own container. I lectured at a hair salon one time right here in Atlanta. It's a very large salon, and the owner of the salon was an athlete of a very high level, and he wanted the people in the shop to become more health conscious. He wanted to take good care of his people. And I went into the place, and what they did was every day someone would buy food for everyone. And each day the job fell to someone else, and they'd have food for everybody to snack on. But the problem was that they only had a few moments in between clients. You couldn't eat while you were cutting someone's hair, but you could eat before the next client came. You get a couple bites. So what they bought was donuts. Always. And I went in and talked to them, and I had brought for that night an entire flat of strawberries. And said, you know, if you need to grab a bite or two, go ahead up and see how a strawberry goes for you. And everybody liked it. And by the time I finished the talk, they agreed that for the next month, they would all take 3 turns, and over the next month, they would each go out and buy a flat of fruit. And that worked just as well, and their hands stayed clean, and they could have 3 or 4 grapes real quick in between the client, eat whatever they had time for the next client. It never got in their way. It was like fast food was the easiest thing. It just worked so well for them. Running my health retreat in the 10 years, we always, at the end of the stay, had people come up to the kitchen and help in the kitchen because they wanted to learn how to make what they had been served for a month or 2 months, and they wanted to see how it was done. And they'd come up for at least a couple of meals and help in the kitchen so they could see how to make a salad, a dressing, a sauce, a soup, whatever it was. And it never ceased to amaze me how slow they were in the kitchen, until it dawned on me that they weren't slow. I was fast. And the reason I was fast because I had a lot of practice. That's all. I never practiced to get faster. just had a lot of practice. Eventually I got to know where the knife was. And I wasn't worried about cutting my finger off because I had good technique. And the technique in the kitchen allows you to get more speedy. And practice in the kitchen allows you to get more speedy. And jobs that I estimate how long will it take to cut up this or prep this, well, if you don't know how to use your tools, it'll be much slower. We were serving a coleslaw for about 36 people a few weeks ago. And when we got ready to make it, everything was ready to go. We had volunteers, beaucoup in the kitchen. Everybody had a different part of the meal. It was a 5-course meal that revolved around this coleslaw. And we needed to shred about 8 heads of cabbage. And we're missing one part from the food processor. And nobody knew where the part was. And 3 different people came up to me and said, well, can't we cut it with a knife? I went, you're going to cut 8 heads of cabbage. We're going to be here all night. And then finally somebody said, well, I found a grater. We could do it with a grater. I went, okay, we'll only be here half the night. It's nice to use a knife. It'll be a different texture. It's nice to use the grater. There's a certain zen, certain nice feeling that happens in methodical, no machines. But when you're counting on the machine, it's nice to know how to use the machine. I've been amazed at the number of people that don't know how their own machines work. And I'm one of them. I don't know how my computer works. But I know how my kitchen tools work. And I was at my mom's house, and we finished using the food processor, and then I took it apart to wash it. She said, I didn't know that came apart. You mean those 2 pieces come apart? I thought they were stuck together. No, they come apart. So learn how your tools work. Things get much faster in the kitchen if you know how to work them. I know how to make food taste pretty good, but it's not my forte to be an artist with the food. But I know for sure that if I serve tomato soup made of blended tomatoes, not a very hard dish to make, or tomato soup with blended tomatoes and celery, or tomato soup with tomatoes and some grapefruit squeezed in, that it just looks like tomato soup. But if I put a mint leaf on the side, or a parsley sprig on the side, or a wedge of citrus on the side, or a few drips of a seed sauce, or a seed cream, or a nut cream, a few drizzles on the top, that decorating the food, plating how you present the food, makes a big difference to people, and it changes it from, I hate to say, from what my friend Steve Ferenzi in college used to call glom. Oh, just glom it on the plate, Doug. Slop. It changes it to eloquent. A couple of drips. If you dice some vegetables really, really fine of a couple different colors and sprinkle it on top of your red tomato soup, and now it looks like 4th of July confetti on top. Oh, it's very eloquent. It's fancy. And people get a tremendously more heightened appreciation. As Rosie said, it doesn't take a lot of time to do a little something, and it's a world of difference. People really appreciate that world of difference. For me, making things quickly means that I'm going to use less ingredients in the dish, what I call minimalism in the kitchen. How few ingredients can I put into what I'm making and still have it come out tasting delicious? So it's simple and delicious. By using less ingredients, it's a faster process. Over and over, I just go through my mind and go, okay, how can I speed this up? What can I eliminate? What don't I have to do? One of the things I don't have to do is I don't have to do everything at the last minute. I can prep, and any good chef knows that they can prep. Whatever can be prepped in advance, let's prep it in advance. When you watch those shows on television where they make food, and they go, well, we start with some diced onion. They don't dice the onion. They've got a bowl of diced onion. And whatever the food is, anything that I possibly can prep in advance, I do. By the time people come over to watch me make a meal, I go, mix, stir, done. And they go, wow, how did you, what? That was so quick. Well, really, it was nothing. Because I want them in their head to go, wow, that's not hard to do. I could do that. I've had more people tell me that they would eat like I do, except for it takes so much time in the kitchen. More people have told me that than have said, I would eat like you do, except you don't get enough protein, or you don't get enough calcium, or I'm worried about the foods I have to give up. Actually, more people say their reason is, it takes so much time in the kitchen. And I go, what do you think I'm doing in the kitchen? I sold my stove to the junk man 18 years ago. What do you think I'm doing in the kitchen that takes so much time? There isn't a lot of time involved in creating an atmosphere, in making minimalized dishes. Can I cut the number of ingredients in this dish down to 5? Can I get it down to 4? As I said, we served a 5-course dinner the other night. There were 10 ingredients total. It went from drinks to soup to salad to slaw to dessert with 10 ingredients. And it can be done. And it was for a lot of people, and we made it in way under an hour. To make a meal for 30 in under an hour is moving right along in the kitchen. We had somebody that was just prepping, and we had somebody else who was just taking out the garbage. Other than that, we put it together quickly. If you're apologizing for what you're serving, people catch up on that. They pick up on that very quickly. If you're going, well, it's really not very good, but it's what we've got. Unless it's tongue-in-cheek, exuding confidence and pride and making it pretty is 3/4 of the battle. Feeling that you're really happy with what you've made and put it on the table in that fashion makes all the world of difference for people. They'll taste it. You didn't put the tastes in there. The tastes were in the food, whatever ingredients you used. It's not like you stuffed every grape, but nor do you taste the same thing that I taste when we eat a grape. Even 2 halves of the same grape. You taste, just like we see the same painting and we'll see different things and different parts catch our eye. If we watch something happen on the street and then give a detailed account of what we saw, we see different things. Our perceptions are different. It's like color blindedness. There's taste blindedness. And some people don't taste the same tastes that you do, or as much of it as you do. So something that might seem hardly any ginger at all to one person could seem like we had a dish in Hawaii, and it was as simple as mango and ginger. The woman who made it said, it needs more ginger. I can't taste. All I taste is mango. Wow, that's going to be good. That's going to be good for me then, because that's all I want to taste is mango. And I tasted it, and all I could taste was ginger. And I couldn't taste the mango at all. I'm going, oh, you ruined a perfectly good mango with too much ginger. I realize that different people taste different things. It's not identical. People can always add more if they want to add more of something. But it's really hard to pull it out. It's easier for you, it's quicker, and it's going to take you more in the direction of whole, fresh, ripe, organic plants. If we simplify the meal, it's easy, it's quick, it's fun, and you can add more flavor of something to suit tastes. I want to take a couple minutes and go through some sample meals. 1, 2, 3 sample meals. It would just knock them out really quickly. And go, what would happen if we were going to make a meal of drink, soup, salad. We got 3 courses going. If we said salad / slaw, dessert, could we even add a dessert to that? Would we want to? Should we serve it first? There's a lot of ways to go about it, but let's play with that. And what would happen if somebody's coming to your house for drinks? What drinks would you give them to open up a meal? Orange juice. OJ's pretty quick. That doesn't take much. Tangerine juice, clementine juice, grapefruit juice, orange juice, any citrus juice. You got a bunch of different juices to choose from. Mixed citrus. That's what we have in the house, so you got mixed citrus tonight. What other drinks could we give people? Coconut water. Oh, boy. We call it pipa. You call it cocoa water. OJ, cocoa water. These are easy drinks. Any other drinks we could give somebody? Maybe run a pineapple through a juicer? Could. Maybe you run a pineapple through a juicer. You take that fiber that comes out and you go, now that's going in the dressing. And I'm not throwing it away. It'll carry through. I don't want to throw away the fiber, but you could sure make any kind of pineapple or other juice. It would work just fine. We're not talking about a lot of time. And it cleanses the palate and it gets people ready. And they go, wow, this is so nice. Do you know how good fresh squeezed orange juice tastes compared to what people are used to drinking? The stuff that they call orange juice? They're amazed by your orange juice. Where did you get this? This is awesome. People come back for a second glass, a third glass. They're going, I never drank this much. And I'm perfectly happy if they have as much as they want. I really am. Soups? What are any easy soups? People know any easy soups? What do you use for soup? Tomato basil. How do you make gazpacho? So it's cuke, pepper, tomato. You ever make cuke soup? Cuke soup with dill, yes. Or without dill. There's a restaurant that I've used quite a bit in my hometown, and I eventually said, look, all I want is any citrus, whatever's in the house. I don't care. Any citrus, blend it with cucumber. Done. I've served that as drinks. I've served it as soup. I've served it as salad dressing. We could go all kinds of ways with relatively quick soup. How about strawberry soup? Strawberry soup is one of my favorites. I used to make it with 3 cow's cream. Now I make strawberry soup in the summertime. Nice cold strawberry soup. Blend up a bunch of strawberries, slice up a bunch of strawberries, put on a little bit of cream, of macadamia cream or pine nut cream or an almond cream. Any cream will work just fine. Depends on whether you want it to be sweeter soup or whether you want it to be less sweet, more of a tart soup. But lots of ways to go really quickly. I got challenged once by a friend of mine who was a patient that became such a good friend that after he would come to see me, he would always make sure he was the last patient of the day so that he could then come home and have dinner with me. And that worked out really well. I enjoyed that so much, making dinner for him. And one night he challenged me. The challenge was, how simple can you make your salad? Because we were talking about all this, and I said, I can make salad really simply. I can make salad out of a dressing, which we'll do in a moment, and lettuce. He wanted to see that. Salad made out of just lettuce. I made a nice dressing. I made some orange juice and avocado, and all I did was dice up some avocado and make some orange juice and just shake the two together, and it emulsifies the fats in the avocado, and the whole thing turns to cream. And I poured it over lettuce, and it gave me an idea. And I tried for the next 7 nights to make salad out of just romaine lettuce. That was the whole salad, romaine lettuce, and I loved it. And one night, it was whole leaves of romaine lettuce with a dressing thick enough to call it a dip. And one night, it was, how fine could I sit there and shred romaine lettuce until it was confetti-sized and tiny, long strands and then cut fine. Another time, just cut fine, long strands. Another time, just ripped it. Another night, just cut it regular. Every night was a completely different dressing. So as far as making salads, a salad can be as simple as 1 or 2 or 3 vegetables, and you're there. If you put tomatoes in with lettuce, or you put cucumbers in with lettuce, or 1 or 2 broccoli in with lettuce, it allows you to make a completely different salad every night, as opposed to if you just put everything in your salad every night, how do you make variety happen? Granted, we're dealing with 20 or 30 different, in Georgia we call them salad fixings, 30 or so vegetables that easily could go in a salad, but if you put them all in, it's going to be the same salad tomorrow. The dressing might change, but it would be nice to make a different salad tomorrow. And with the potential of a different dressing, if you can make 50 different dressings and 50 different salads, the range of possibilities there is huge. And how many different slaws can you make? What is a slaw? A slaw, actually, is just finely shredded vegetable. Cole is the cabbage. If you finely shred broccoli, you have broccoli slaw. If you finely shred celery, you have celery slaw. If you finely shred peppers, you could make pepper slaw or beet slaw or any slaw you want to make. It doesn't have to be cabbage-based in any way. In my recipe book, I think we have 10 different slaws. My favorite play on words was the one that's made out of cauliflower, so it's col slaw. So a huge variety of salads. What makes a dressing? In the old days, what are the 2 ingredients that are in a dressing? Oil and vinegar. We all know this without thinking that oil and vinegar makes up almost every dressing there is other than like blue cheese. But almost every other dressing is based in oil and vinegar, and then you add something and it comes out a little different. Oil is the fat source. Vinegar is the acid source. As we've discussed, vinegar is a deadly poison. In fact, if you go into the local high school near you and in their chem lab, they will have acetic acid in a brown jug, gallon jug, acetic acid, red block letters that say poison. In order to make acetic acid into vinegar, you add 19 parts water, 1 part acetic acid. But if you water down poison, isn't it still poison? Doesn't it still turn your liver to stone? All you've done is taken in a smaller quantity, but it's still toxic. And every country has their own favorite vinegar made from different things, but vinegar is a toxic poison. So rather than use that acid, any acidic fruit, and even sub-acid fruits, work well as a source of acid in the salad dressing. And where do we get the fats? Fatty fruits, nuts, seeds, the avocado, even some of the low-fat fruits will work well for salad dressing. So, again, we start coming up with combinations. And when I taught classes in dressings, what I found is that when I made my absolute favorite tangerine avocado dressing, half the people liked it. And the other half much preferred grapefruit sesame seed. I liked the sweet dressing. They liked the bitter tart dressing. Other people liked those dressings better with an herb added. And each time we added a mild herb to just give a background flavor, and they go, oh, now it's dressing. Till then it wasn't dressing. So we can start to look at the dressing part. Salad, endless, fast. It shouldn't take long to make salad. But the dressings, if we were to make some easy, quickie dressings, one would be citrus, avo, pineapple, nut, strawberry, seed. As soon as we take any fatty source, sesame, orange, any fat source with any acid source, put the two together, you have dressing. I used to get off easy in the kitchen because Rosie would make the salad, I'd make the dressing. She'd call me in after she'd been working in the kitchen for a while and say, okay, salad's almost ready. I'd come in, make the dressing. How much time does it take to make a dressing? If you have reasonably good kitchen tools and you go, well, I'm comfortable with my knife, it doesn't take much to open it, I open up the avocado, it's done, it's quick, it's fast, I'm ready to serve it. If I want to turn it into dressing, all I do is cut it in chunks, spoon it out, add some acid to that, and in tossing the salad, the avocado turns into dressing in the presence of an acid. You don't have to do more with it. It's a fairly simple process. And dessert. Do we have any favorites that people like to make? I like pie. Dessert depends in a lot of ways on what you had for dinner. For myself, I almost never make dessert because my meal was dessert. I don't feel any need for dessert or for more meal. But if I'm making something fancy for guests, especially non-raw fooders, well, many of the guidelines we'd say, well, that's not the healthiest combination on the planet. We could throw them away. But you can also make it with perfectly healthy combinations once you learn how to do that. And for myself, I'm going to give them desserts that are made with healthy combinations. I don't feel funny if I made a strawberry soup to, at the end of the meal, add a little more strawberry into a dessert. What was different between strawberry soup with some pine nuts on it and diced strawberries with some pine cream poured over it? It's dessert now. It's not soup anymore. I can dice pineapple and strawberry, and if I crush some almonds into almost powder, into a grain of sand size or a little bigger, and just mix a little bit of nut into any acid fruit mixture, kiwi, it just doesn't matter what the acid fruit is. By the time we put a little bit of nut in with any acid fruit mixture, you've got, depending on how you serve it, you either have a tart, or you have a pie, or you have glom, or you have whatever. You have a bowl of fruit, parfait. Depends on what glass you put it in. One of the nicest, pretty things is to take some nuts, macadamia nuts, pine nuts, almonds work very well. Any nut will work. And run it in a food processor until it's powder. Once it becomes powder, you can make sandcastles with it. You can make a little cup out of it. It's almost clay consistency. In fact, the macadamia truly will be clay consistency. And you can pull out a little cup. You can stick it inside of a torte dish, the kind that have the bottoms that remove. Stick it in there, make it into the dough of a tart, fill it with any acid fruit, and now you have just a knife, push up the bottom, the whole thing comes out, and you have an individual serving of dessert that is a little more time consuming to make. In terms of prep, okay, it took you a couple more minutes. In terms of cleanup, you rinse it with water. If it's got to be that fancy. For me, it doesn't have to be that fancy, and so for dessert, for most people, I'm just going to serve them a piece of fruit. They're looking for something sweet. They've been trained to look for something sweet. And even though they had sweets at the beginning of the meal and put a little bit of sweetness in the soup and definitely a little bit more sweetness in the salad dressing, they're so trained that they'll eat a little more fruit anyway. And that's what I wanted to do, is I'm trying to get people to eat more fruits and eat more vegetables. If I can get people to eat more fruits and eat more vegetables, then my mission is accomplished, because we're making a step towards the goal, which is a diet comprised of fruits and vegetables. And I don't care about the speed with which this transition is made. I'm concerned about the direction people are heading. We've tried many different ways over the years to help people make a smooth transition. I've got a brand new audio cassette that just came out about smooth transitioning. But we help many people make the transition and try different routes to get there. And of all the things I've tried, at this point I am firmly convinced that the fastest, easiest, the least painful way to transition from a standard American diet or any other diet to a successful low-fat, raw food diet is to go straight towards the goal. Increase the percentage of whole, fresh, ripe, raw, organic plants. Simplify the meals. Let diversity be in the diet, not in the meal. And have people move straight towards the target, rather than learn how to make the cooked food equivalent in raw food, or learn how to make raw foods that'll give you the same feeling of cooked foods, or to make mock this, that, or the next. I'm not against it, but making mock tuna salad is almost a tease. I mean, if I want tuna salad, I'll eat tuna salad. I wouldn't, but if I want that, that's the way I would go. I don't want some amazing concoction that comes out tasting like, almost like tuna salad did, reminiscent of it. Oh yeah, let me see if I can keep those tuna salad thoughts alive in my head. I don't want tuna salad thoughts alive in my head. I want to eat orange when I want orange. I want to eat celery when I want celery. And I don't need to find out what happens is, if I combine them enough, can I get something that tastes like. Every once in a while it happens. We stumbled on something, Rosie made something the other day, and everything about it was peanut butter to my taste buds. And there were no peanuts in it. And it came out peanut butter anyway. And I don't exactly know why. We're going to pursue it a little bit to tell people about it. But the likelihood of us ever making it, I really don't want peanut butter. I don't want to tease myself that I should want to go back to peanut butter. I want to go forward. I want to, as simple as I can make it, as quick as I can make it, as comfortable as I can do it. I want to draw it out of you that you can do it, and that it's really that easy as an acid and a fat. And I've got dressing, I've got sauce, I've got dip, I've got fondue, I've got spreads, almost any way that you can put it together. I've got pâté by simply controlling the amount of water in the mixture. And it's easy, it's quick, it's fun to be that creative, it's fun to know that I can walk into almost anybody's house. We went to a friend's house in New Mexico for a presentation, we were staying there, and she goes, oh, I just don't have a thing in the house. And I looked in the kitchen, I opened up the fridge, I go, I'll make dinner. You leave, come back in 30 minutes, dinner will be ready. Served a 5-course meal. She goes, where did all this, it's amazing. And it was easy because it only took 1 ingredient to make a drink, it only took 2 ingredients to make a soup. It didn't take 2 ingredients to make a salad and 2 more to make a dressing, and all of a ssudden there's a whole meal right there, and she didn't even know it was in the fridge. And I know, Jackie, that's one of the things you say you're so good at too. Look in the fridge and say, I can do this. She didn't even see this woman was not a raw fooder. She didn't see a raw food meal in her kitchen. Go shopping. No, it's very easy. It's very quick. Not a raw fooder. She didn't see a raw food meal in her kitchen. Go shopping. No, it's very easy. It's very quick. Not a raw fooder. She didn't see a raw food